This crusade, this war on terrorism, is going to take a while, and the American people must be patient. I'm going to be patient, but I can assure the American people I am determined. I'm not going to be distracted. I will keep my focus to make sure that not only are these brought to justice, but anybody who's been associated will be brought to justice.
The Knights Templar, legendary soldier monks of the Middle Ages. Warriors of God. Holy men, devilish fighters, sworn to poverty, but richer than kings. Legend says they guarded the greatest relic in Christendom, the Holy Grail. A treasure so priceless, it gave them unrivaled power. Who were the Knights Templar? And can the true secret of their power be revealed today? The Templars call themselves the Poor Knights of Christ, yet become one of the richest organizations in Europe.
It's here.
It's said the source of their wealth is an ancient relic discovered beneath the ruins of the old Jewish temple in Jerusalem. And its fate remains a riddle. To discover the Templars' secret, we must retrace their footsteps, back to the beginning, back to the clash of civilizations called the Crusades. 1096 AD, an army of European knights marches thousands of miles to the region they call the Holy Land. Muslim states dominate the Middle East and a region that stretches from Persia to Spain. Pope Urban II calls for a holy war to liberate Christianity's most sacred city, Jerusalem. It takes the Crusaders nearly 3 years to reach the holy city. Along the way, battle, disease, and starvation take their toll. Over 4,000 knights set out for Jerusalem. A little over 1,000 arrive. July 1099. After a 5-week siege, the Crusaders take the city.
When the Crusaders captured Jerusalem, first thing that happened, there was a bloodbath of almighty proportions. They slaughtered everybody, Christian, Jew, Muslim alike. It was not a pretty event.
A French eyewitness describes the carnage. Piles of heads, hands, and feet were to be seen in the streets of the city. In the temple and porch of Solomon, men rode in blood up to their knees and bridle reins. Indeed, it was a just and splendid judgment of God that this place should be filled with the blood of unbelievers, since it had suffered so long from their blasphemies. To rule the new kingdom of Jerusalem, the Crusaders choose from their own ranks. Crusader kings will fight battle after battle to hold this sacred ground. In 1118, they choose their third leader and name him King Baldwin II. King Baldwin receives an offer of help from a Crusader knight,
My lord.
the French nobleman Hugh de Payon.
Rise. I have a great vision, my lord.
Hugh de Payon proposed the idea of a contingent of fighting monks whose responsibility would be to guard the Holy Land and to safeguard passage of pilgrims on their way from Europe to the Holy Land and to defend the holy city of Jerusalem.
King Baldwin likes the idea, and the Templars are born.
Thou art a knight of the Templar. Thou art a warrior of God.
From a band of 9 knights, the Templars will swell into an army of thousands. They call themselves the Order of the Poor Knights of the Temple of Solomon. In time, they're simply known as the Knights Templar. They're not only warriors, but monks. They take vows of poverty, obedience, and celibacy. Europe has never seen such a force.
The whole idea of a fighting order, a military order, was really a quite extraordinary and indeed even revolutionary idea in the church.
How do you combine these two things? Do you pray over your weapons? The answer is yes, that they did. You know, they regarded their calling as a holy calling.
The Knights Templar decided they would create what we might think of today as special forces for Christ.
Trained to fight.
Your first defense is your sword. I guarantee you, you lose this, you will lose your life. When we cut, we keep going, we do not stop. Is everyone ready?
Between those two military orders, you had an extremely efficient, highly disciplined, superbly equipped standing army. Small in number, but incredibly, they packed one hell of a punch.
The Templars crush the Muslims at the siege of Ascalon in 1153, the Battle of Mortgizard in 1177, and the Battle of Arsuf in 1191. They seem invincible. The Templars fight by strict rules. They are forbidden to retreat unless ordered to do so, and only when outnumbered by more than 3 to 1.
The Templars really were different from other parts of the Crusader army. It was known that they wouldn't break ranks. It was known that they wouldn't run away, that they wouldn't desert.
The Templars' Red Cross stands for martyrdom, death in battle is glorious. The key tactical maneuver is the squadron charge. A small group of knights attacks head-on a tightly packed wedge. Their goal? To break the enemy line and scatter the enemy to the right and left. The charge is reckless, terrifying, magnificent.
Perpetrated by those who profess to stand up for faith, their faith. A brutal, vicious death cult that, in the name of religion, carries out unspeakable acts of barbarism, terrorizing religious minorities. We see sectarian war in the murder of Muslims and Christians in Nigeria, religious war in the Central African Republic, a rising tide of anti-Semitism and hate crimes in Europe, so often perpetrated in the name of religion. Those who seek to hijack religious for their own murderous ends. Remember that during the Crusades and the Inquisition, people committed terrible deeds in the name of Christ. In our home country, slavery and Jim Crow all too often was justified in the name of Christ. So this is not unique to one group or one religion. There is a tendency in us, a sinful tendency that can pervert and distort our faith.
Hi, my name is Alan Lamont. I'm doing an audio now on the Knights of Malta, and I'm really going to just give names here, you know. I'm going to go through a membership list and give you the details so you can look at that list yourself. And the Knights of Malta really do govern world politics. They govern the United Nations. Many of the high-level members of the Third Reich were actually Knights of Malta. And I'm bringing this list out for people that, you know, say the Jews control the New World Order and so on, or it's from the Bilderberg Group and so on. So this is truth that you can research. This is facts that you can't deny, you know. All the dictators that we see across the earth are Knights of Rome. The Vatican governs the politics of the world, and that includes all intelligence organisations through this papal knighthood, Catholic papal knighthood called the Sovereign Military Order of Malta, or otherwise known as the Knights of Malta. And this is information that people need to research, really. And the Pope is the one that is in control over this, but it also has a Grand Master. The present Grand Master is Matthew Festin, and he is from Northumbria in the north of Britain. And so really, politics really is governed by this knighthood, and their agenda really is to end the sovereignty of the United States and all nations, really, to bring a one world government and a new international economic order, or otherwise known as a one world economy. And they want to really disarm people, really, to take away the gun control. And here's the Knights of Malta. They are known as the militia of the Pope. And so really, when someone becomes a Knight of Malta, they have to take an oath. And then that oath is, it's an oath of absolute obedience to the Pope of Rome. That's what it is. And so I'm going to list some of these names. And these are the people who, you'll know their names, you know, the high-level people in the CFR, American politics and so on. You have Brzezinski. He is the member of the Knights of Malta. He's a member of the Bilderberg Group. He's a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission. As I've said previously, this is really a round-table group governed from the British Empire, overseen by the Jesuit order. Also, you know, he came from Jesuit Georgetown University. He's a Polish Roman Catholic socialist communist. He's really controlled by the Jesuits. You have George Soros. He is the member of the Council on Foreign Relations and member of the Carlyle Group. He's a multi-billionaire, major stockholder. And he was also trained at the London School of Economics for a season, which is also a Jesuit university. And he's a major stockholder in Halliburton, a Hungarian Jew. And you know, so a lot of people really are looking to the Jewish Zionist movement and saying that the Jews really control the New World Order. They rule. Actually, you'll find out that all of these high-level Jews the Warburgs, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds are all Knights of Malta. So it's very important to know who this knighthood is and who their members are, because world politics is governed by this papal knighthood. And also you have Rupert Murdoch, he's a Knight of Malta, he's also a Knight of St. Gregory. You have Joseph R. Biden, the Vice President of the United States currently. He's a Papal Knight of Rome, he's a Knight of Malta, a Jesuit Temple Coadjutor, which means he's working for the Jesuit Order. And he oversees, another Knight of Malta, President Barry Davis Obama. Former Prime Minister Tony Blair is a Knight of Malta, as Michael Bloomberg, even Charles Joseph Bonaparte, really Pat Buchanan, George H.W. Bush Sr., George W. Bush Jr., Jeb Bush. Even though Jeb Bush is a Knight of Columbus, 4th degree Son Knight, he's also Knight of Malta. Prescott Bush Jr., King John Carlos of Spain, who's a very, very high-level Knight of Rome governing world politics. President Bill Clinton is a Knight of Malta. Most senators are, and most members of Congress. The list goes on and on. Heinrich Himmler, my God, Heinrich Himmler was a Knight of Malta. That's the truth of it. Von Papen, these were high-level Nazis, Goring of the Nazi SS, that's the truth. And you don't really hear Alex Jones bring this out, or many others that mention the Bilderberg Group. The Jews don't rule, okay? They don't control the New World Order. You will find, through research, that the Knights of Malta govern world politics, and they oversee the political process across the earth. And there are multi-levels, of knighthoods all across the earth, and they govern different territories across the earth in this power structure. And there's different power centers. For instance, the British Empire rules over America through the Crown Corporation and so on. But all I want to bring out really is the Sovereign Military Order of Malta is a very powerful knighthood that governs world politics and world intelligence. In fact, all intelligence across the earth, and that goes for British MI5, MI6, CIA, Homeland Security, NSA. All of it really is governed by the Knights of Malta, and that's the truth. When people reach the highest levels of politics and intelligence, and even in military, they're knighted at the Knights of Malta, because they are given that position by the Vatican. And for generations the Knights of Malta have governed even Russia. That's the truth. They really govern Russia, and they govern Israel and all nations across the earth. But ultimately they are subordinate to the Jesuit general, and they also are servants of the British Empire. The British Empire is still an empire, and that's the truth of it. So that's it. I just want to bring that information out. If you're really sincerely looking at the New World Order, trying to understand who the powers are, because you will admit to yourself that if you go on Alex Jones' show or Texie Mars or all of these men, now they blame Jews, or they call them globalist elites, or it's all unknown powers. It's powers that you will never know, and people just bring out a general accusation like they're Zionists, or they're Jews, or they point to the Bilderberg Group, or they point to the Masons. They don't actually expose really who controls. And actually all roads lead to Rome. You can very easily find out who controls the New World Order. All you have to do is look at the Vatican knighthoods, and you will find out that all of our politicians and all of our world leaders are all Knights of Malta, or they are all alumni Jesuit trained. That's the structure, folks. That's it. It's that simple. Okay, thanks for listening. My name is Alan Lamont, and all roads lead to Rome, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
It is America's first real terrorist organization, and mixes violence with hate.
The Jew is even worse than
Its legacy was passed down from father to son, and has one major goal: white power. White power.
Jews are like parasites.
If your dog bites you, you punish bad racist and hater.
They are the imperial clans of America, the IKA. The new face of the Ku Klux Klan.
Death before dishonor. We'd rather die than do something we don't believe in.
The order is defined by secret titles that date back more than a century.
This crusade, this war on terrorism, is going to take a while.